Some says, good evening, and we have checked in. We are now all here for another wonderful session of Free to Heal, where we come together, formerly incarcerated, loved ones, children, those people that have been affected by the criminal justice system, mass incarceration, and we try to heal from the ravages of those things that were done to us, around us, and the effects of our family members. So tonight, we're fortunate to have Mr. Terrell Tillman. He's going to do a section out of his book, Formula for Success. Raise your hand, Mr. Tillman. Y'all see him. And so he's going to do something on relationships. Now, the way that his book is written, I really like to read the things to you that he says. And so I'm going to start that, and I'm going to give him an opportunity just to go for it, okay? So relationships are formed by everyone and are the basis of everyone's life. One thing I say all the time, everything is relationship, whether it's employment, friendship, sibling relationship. The relationships that cause us the most pain are the ones that were formed when we were young, and particularly with family members, when we feel we're betrayed, neglected, not appreciated by our family members, it tends to hurt worse. And so those things leave scars, particularly with parents. When parents, we expect them to love us and care for us. And if that doesn't happen, that leaves deep wounds that really take a long time for people to get over.
And those are called the intimate relationships that are non-sexual.
Wonderful. And that's good to make that clarification too, because they are intimate relationships, but they're just non-sexual. And that is a good distinction to make.
Unless they come abusive.
And then it's just abusive. Then it's, then it's something, then it's child abuse. Right. Incest and all of that. Yeah. And that's awful. Right. Relationships are also the basis in which every person, from a newborn infant to a full-grown adult, establishes themselves during a lifetime. We always are in relationship to other people. Nobody lives on an island. Nobody. There was a Tom Hanks did that movie where he was on a deserted island and all he had was that ball. He formed a relationship with that damn volleyball. Why? Because we all crave and need relationship. And I know people, unfortunately, who have had poor relationships with their mother figure, their mother in their lives, or didn't have their mother and didn't have good experiences after that. And those people have been harmed at such a level that it takes years and years and years for them, if ever, to actually overcome the trauma of not having a good relationship with their mom. That is the first source that we look to for love, validation, understanding. And when we don't get it from those sources, it really sets a series of things in motion that can be traumatic, that if we don't address those things, they tend to show up as anger, frustration, just negative emotions and negative responses, which then begat more negative responses. So once you start on that negative cycle, it brings more negativity to you, even if it wasn't your fault at the beginning. So those relationships, there's an abundance of relations that exist in life, but I'm going to touch on various kinds of relations that are relevant and realistic to reentry people's lives and what may be of the best of interest. So you start here with a spouse. A reentry person's relationship with their spouse is most vital and should be the primary relationship focused on before, during, and after incarceration. So something you said earlier, James, about those relationships that we have when folks are incarcerated. I'm the person who was on the outside. And you mentioned the fact that we, whatever the conversations were, we were trying to keep those light and, keep you in a positive way. and it's true, we've talked about it several times in this in our sessions, is that for us being on the outside, first of all, remembering that when we're speaking, you got the people in your ear telling you every few minutes, this call is being recorded. So you're losing time there. You got
losing focus on the conversation.
Said it again.
I said you be losing focus on your conversation.
Because they interrupt you, especially if you were, into something and you know that somebody's listening. So you're not trying to be too intimate. But then also the goal is to keep you, is to have a pleasant exchange. And so, yes, I know as the woman on the outside, my goal was always to keep the conversation positive. I didn't want to talk about the mundane things and, likely, for example, the things I'm going through right now, if my guy was still in prison, I probably wouldn't have even talked to him about that on our Sunday calls. Just because, number one, there was nothing he could do about it. And I know that he would have been upset about that. And number two, because I only get a few minutes. I want to hear how he's doing. I want to know what's going on with him. Wait 1 second. Mm-hmm.
When I first went in, the phone calls were very expensive. And then
Wait 1 second. Somebody's got a TV going. It's in the back, and I need them to mute. Go ahead.
Anyhow, like you said, you got a guard listening.
That's Diane.
And now with them little laptops that they allow, yeah, they can call home.
Diane, mute yourself, please.
On those, and what's the difference between the security back then and the security now?
I don't think much of anything. I don't think there's much difference today. I think what it is that maybe they feel more secure. I don't know, or maybe they realize they just got to come up with a better, a better way.
They just try to come up with a better plan because everybody there have cell phones.
Millions of dollars off these.
Well, see, they was running the phone calls into Canada and back out to the United States, so they didn't pay taxes. That was how GTE was getting away with the taxes.
Yeah.
And they got caught. So then they told them you can't do that and had to pay everybody that was paying them $8.35 phone calls. They had to give them a refund. Then they came with this new system where the phone calls had to be less. When they did it, when they lessened the phone calls, they turned around and said, okay, we're gonna lessen them, but let's figure out another way. So they started coming with this visit with the
video visit.
Yeah.
Video visits. They came to video visits. Now you got to put money on their phone to do video visits. That was another way to recoup the money that they lost on the lawsuits. Then they came with the tablets. Now the tablets is in a form, it has certain keywords that if you say them, it notifies administration. They can go back and hear your conversation because it's being recorded, just like everything else. Mm-hmm. But what it is certain keywords alarm administration and it alarms GTE. And they'll get either the prison.
Go ahead.
Either the prison or GTE will give the transcription to whoever's ISU, or whoever for the prison goon squad, and then they come and they say, hey, but believe it or not, your tablet records.
Mm-hmm.
It has an unlimited recording capability, so they can go plug in and go back to all your phone calls.
It's done this before.
Yeah, and they like when they were locked down and they wouldn't use the phones, and now the people can tell them what's really happening,
Yeah, but they don't understand it.
They were making, I think when they try to cut out family visit, talking about overall it cost $1 million. Mm-hmm. And then they said, well, how much do you make off the phones? And they said it was over like $8 million a year they were getting from the phone company.
But let me ask, hey, Di, so with the tablets, don't they have to pay for those?
Yes, you have to put money on the tablet for them to be able to watch movies and things like that.
Yeah.
But they can't call as much as they allowed to call. They can call all they want to.
Yeah, call the
But for them to watch movies and things like that, you have to put money on there.
Okay.
Text messages, send pictures, all that.
Yeah, but it's only like 5 cents. Like for me, I had to open an account. You got to put some money on your account. So I put $10. But me to send pictures and text messages and stuff like that, it's only 5 cents.
Okay.
And I'm gonna let y'all in on another big secret. One of the main new reasons why they do it, they didn't got enough money. It's so they can catch some of these cold cases and catch people with new cases.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it's about.
Because they want people to feel comfortable to be able
talk.
to talk and act as if.
Access to talk.
Uh-huh.
But they monitor the iPads all the time.
Recorder.
Because if you send a picture, it says pending until the
Wait,
police officer.
Wait, one second. Wait, start over what you were saying because they were talking at the same time.
I said they monitor, like you said, they do monitor the iPads. If you any text message you send, any picture you send, it says pending on our end until the police person looks at it and says it's okay for them to be approved. But if you said they still monitor everything that goes on with that iPad.
So for anybody listening that may be incarcerated or that's talking to somebody, make sure you guys understand everything you do is being monitored. Even if
you can't
the false impression that it's not, it is
right. It is because you can't have YouTube on there. You can't have nothing like that. Like a lot of things you can't have on there. They have all that stuff is out of there already. It's only certain things they can have on the iPad. They can't have an open iPad with all the stuff like we have. No, they do not have that.
Okay. So you were going to say something? Uh-huh.
I seen this, I don't know, you call it a program or whatever it is, but you know, like when guys used to have phones in there, and these dumb fools would sit there and send pictures with holding knives and drinking Pruno and all this shit.
All they do.
And the guards knew who had phones and they were monitoring it. And when they went to board,
Oh, that came out.
yeah, the board say, "Are you ready to go? And you got your thing together?" Yeah. Then they flip these pictures up saying, "Where's the knife?" And what, you know, there's a lot of dumbass people in the prison.
Well, you know what? There are.
Well, they still doing that. They still making videos with them in prison all the time.
And I just think it's crazy.
Facebook.
That's the reason why they give it to them, because they know they're gonna incriminate themselves.
Yeah, some people, but one of the things that I don't want to be interpreted from what was just said is that all the people in prison are in there because they stupid, because that's just not the case.
I didn't say all of them.
No. I'm not. What was said collectively by everybody, somebody listening could get the impression that people incarcerated are dumb, because that's what society is said. Dumb criminals, right? Well, there are some dumb criminals, right? But people do dumb things, but there are a lot of people, the people that they sought to incarcerate for the longest period of time were actually the smart people. Like you, for example, you had skills.
Yeah.
You knew things. There's a lot of things that they could benefit from you being there, right? So because I'm always conscious that it's not just us that are in this group that may get access to this. I'm conscious that somebody else may hear it, and I want to dispel the myth that only stupid people get incarcerated. That's just not the case. It's not the case.
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't get my date till I went to the board in a wheelchair, and I hanging my head like, you know, I'm almost out the door.
Right.
Because
at that point you couldn't do plumbing for them anymore.
No free labor.
And so you weren't. So therefore your value to them, now you became a liability, because now they got to pay for your health care, which they don't like to do. You know, and it's just the way that the system is set up. It is really truly. But I just wanted to make sure that with us talking about stuff like that, that it didn't give the impression to anybody listening that people in prison are dumb, because that's the furthest thing from the truth. I just know too many highly intelligent people who have been there. But when you talk about a spouse, so spouses in healthy relationships are the number one entity that a re-entry person relies on for comfort, security, love, sex, information, advice, guidance, resources, dwellings, transportation, and finances. And let me tell you what's so deep to me about that is that the cold part about it is, but y'all still really don't want us to tell y'all nothing. See, because we
No.
gotta balance that against all the women been telling y'all what to do, and y'all don't want to hear shit from us. So what the fuck y'all want us to do? I want to know, what are we supposed to do?
Exactly.
Go ahead, wait.
Exactly.
Wait, Patrick, did you want to say something? Patrick, did you wave and want to say something? Okay, I'm unfortunately have to go to James.
Yeah, go ahead, James.
What, James?
Go ahead, James.
Well, my thing is this. I don't mind you suggesting things to me to help me further myself in my liberation from this lockdown mentality. But when a woman turns, I understand you've been the man and the woman in the household, paying the bills and all this. I'm not a child. I'm a man. Talk to me as your equal. You teaching me, so understand in a way that I don't understand and put it in layman's terms. That way nobody feel offended by what it is that the woman has to say. But most women come off like, well,
No,
you
gonna
ain't
get
been
it this
here.
way.
You ain't been here. I've been the man in the house, and you gonna hear what I got to say, and blah, 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 blah. And that's the part
You gonna learn
that
today.
makes it a battle between the sexes, because a man come out, he's still a man. He still feel as though his self-esteem is here, and you're trying to knock him off for being who he is. So when you think about how you address and communicate with the person that you're communicating with, think about how you would like to be spoken to. If you didn't understand what it was that being presented to you. That's why a lot of dudes have the issues, is because the women don't know how to step back, and the men don't understand that these women have been the breadwinners for so long. True enough, but we've been surviving behind them walls. You
Okay,
know?
next, Mr. Tillman.
Now, I'm gonna be out devil's advocate, because I did write this book and I did make that statement about all of that, what the spouses do. And one thing is this: yes, we're men. Yes, we want to be talked to a certain way. Yes, certain things we don't like authority. But on the flip side, we didn't endure all of that shit. So we gotta have some empathy for that woman who's endured way more than we didn't endure on the outside, been there to support you, and now supporting you some more. But it's a level of listening, feeling her, hearing her out, because she gonna get out what she gonna get out. Because she, goddamn it, she done been there. She been there. She don't hear what the fuck I got to say. So there ain't no sense of combating the bullshit. Just listen. Take that shit, take it in, and then you can explain as a man. I hear you, baby, but you ain't got to talk to me like that. You ain't got to talk to me like I'm a kid. And for real, that's basically all it is.
So let me ask you a question.
Us as men, we can take all of the bullshit, but we just want to be talked to with a level of contrition and not like we're a fucking kid.
Okay,
That's
so
all
let
I
me
was
ask
saying.
this question. So let me ask this
But we gotta
question.
take it first.
But let me ask the question.
So we've been taking it.
But wait, but let me ask the question, because now this is gonna go back to a topic.
Involved. When a woman is speaking and she needs to get out the opportunity, you gotta shut up. Like we want to tell them, shut the fuck up. You need to shut the fuck up and let that woman talk. Because guess what? No, ain't no hold up, Jane. Just like right now, you trying to intervene, you need to just shut the fuck up when she talking. You're not gonna get nowhere. You're not gonna get nowhere.
That's
You're gonna bring confrontation up because the moment you try to cut it off, it's sparking more, it's triggering more stuff. So
Right.
just be quiet, take it. We done took everything in the pen. Take this little conversation right now.
That's why I tell people, guys in particular, you need to court your woman before you move with your woman.
But if you
You
come
gotta
out of
get to
prison,
know
you
your
ain't,
woman.
you ain't got a choice. Some people don't go to the halfway house.
Right.
Some people come
Yes.
home.
Straight to the door.
It was like, you in the home, and now you in the
That's
den.
rough.
Now you in the den, brother.
Well, you know what, but see, in our sessions previously, we had conversations about the fact that, and had people to recommend that a man go to a halfway house before they go home, even if they are married.
I'm gonna let you
They
in on a
kinda-
little secret. Let you in on a little secret. A halfway house is a privilege.
Okay,
So everybody can and go to the halfway house.
got you.
And some people don't want to go to the halfway house, they can, but they don't understand that they should.
Mhm.
But the fact that they don't want authority over them no more, they want to hit straight to the streets. They don't
Mhm.
understand the other part of why they should go.
Right, that transition period.
Yeah.
So this is what I wanted to say though, in relationship to our previous sessions, something we have been talking about. When you talk about talking to me like I'm a kid, my thing there is that how you perceive it? Is that what you think I'm doing? Or am I really doing that? Because a lot of it is, especially for guys that have been gone for a long time, and we know there's a lot of stuff you haven't been exposed to or whatever, even just saying something may sound like we talking to you because we bringing it down to the easy, to layman's terms and all of that. And now you feel offended that I'm talking to you like a 2-year-old or something. So this is what I want to say. It's very difficult to navigate how much to help, how much information to give. When you talk about relying on it for comfort, security, love, information, advice, guidance, I have suggested to women, don't provide none of that guidance, advice, or none of that until they ask you for it. And if they ask you for it, then provide it. But don't just rush in because it's such a minefield. Let that man ask for the help before you start deciding that you need to give him some information. Because ultimately, we don't know where that line is. We don't know how bad it was with the female COs in this particular man. So my advice is just wait till he asks you. If he asks you for information, if he asks you for advice, if he asks you for guidance, then give it. But if he doesn't, let him do whatever he's doing. That would be the easiest way to me to make sure that we don't create a problem that shouldn't be there. But you wanted to say something. Did you remember?
Oh, yeah. My mind ain't all the way gone.
Well, he gonna be 74. I don't know on Sunday. I don't know how far gone it is. But anyway, go ahead.
I know at Sisters Teresa, all the halfway houses she's got, every one of them's got 1 or 2 ghosts. And that's a person that moves in and might not sleep in that bed once a month.
Well, this is what I would like to do. I would not like us to talk about that on this recording.
Why? The truth?
Okay. I just would not like to talk about her business without her being here to defend it.
No, she's not mad about it.
Okay.
And the pro officers know there are ghosts.
Okay.
You know, they that's why most pro officers call you and tell you when they're gonna be there.
And they're
when
ghosts,
you
and they're
need
ghosts
to be
because
there-
they're with their woman. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they're living with their family.
Okay.
You know.
Well, and see, but for me, I would prefer that a person go to somewhere and really be there to give themselves, particularly if they've been gone over 15 years. Like, you need a transition period.
Inspired.
Really?
Now, let me-
Really,
let me-
Terrell,
let me-
even at
let me-
5?
Listen. Things change in months.
Mhm.
So if you've been gone 2 or 3 years, shit done changed. You gone half a decade, shit done changed.
Gotcha.
So, as a man, you my woman, this is just me. I don't like a crash. I don't want to find out the hard way. So if you my woman, and you love me, you got my best interest, tell me some shit.
Right,
Give me the preventative measures, because I don't know.
right.
I'd rather you talk, let me feel like you being authoritative over me and talking to me like a child, save my life, or save my ass, than to let me bump my head and be back in jail.
Yeah.
Come on, baby, why you didn't say nothing?
Right.
And basically, that's all we really are trying to do.
Give
We're
back.
not trying to talk to you like a kid.
And it's like James was saying, it's about courting, but it's about communication too.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? And that's the part of courting, the communication aspect of it. And if you've been communicating with this person and now you're there with them 24 hours and you're living with them, it's a level of understanding and communication that needs to be had. So the woman doesn't feel like she's overstepping her boundary. Well, I gotta let this motherfucker find out that he don't want to listen to me. But it's also the tone, because that's the main thing about us men is the tone.
Mhm.
We can take all that shit. When we feel like you talking to her like a kid
Yeah,
with no level of respect, that's what's gonna trigger any man.
right.
A real
Whether
man.
he been incarcerated or
Whether he
not.
been
That's the
incarcerated or
truth.
not.
Mhm. That's for sure.
Go ahead.
That's for sure. Go ahead, James.
But see, about when I came home, my friend, I had anxiety going to the stores. Remember I told you, just getting
Mhm.
toothpaste
Mhm.
and things, I broke down in tears. But what she did was, she was there to comfort me and ask me, what is this going through me, and to understand where it is I've been. Because she has never been to prison.
Mhm.
She has never walked 26 and a half years off of prison around that same
She couldn't
track.
fathom nobody.
So
else.
she
Like,
can't-
what's
she-
going on with you?
Right. So she's trying to understand me. And when she did that and I opened up to her, now we have this level of understanding and
And you got a code
communication.
word now when something overwhelming you.
Right.
Something triggering you off.
I do. Everyone that goes in the store with me, I know it's crowded, I give them a code word. Hey, look, because I still battle anxiety.
Mhm.
And I've been out 3 years.
I do too.
So when we were talking, she never came off as like a dictatorial, like a dictatorship.
Mhm.
She would ask me, she'd say, do you understand this? Do you understand how to do this on the phone? Do you understand what it is we're doing today? Do you understand, okay, now what do you think we should do today? And she gave me that chance to be able to feel as though I'm free and give me my space to be who I am and don't feel like, come here, little boy, come on, little James, walk to, she gave me that chance of being that man that she needs, because we understand that Rome wasn't built in a day. It's gonna take me some years to get out of prison.
Mhm.
And there's people that say, oh, you out of prison, you should get over that. But you don't get over it overnight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not that it took us almost a year before I was able to spend a night with her, because the being in the bed with her, and when she moved,
Yeah.
she turned over and looked at me, and my eyes was wide open. I'm looking at her like,
Wow. Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? So it takes time. That's why I tell dudes, you need to court your woman. You need to get to know who this woman is, because she gave you the good side while you was in prison. Now you get to see every side of her when you're out of prison.
Well, and it's a valid point for this too, is the fact that even if she was just trying to be herself, there is that filter that we talked about earlier, right? We're filtering because we only have so much time
15 minutes.
with you, right? We got 15 hot minutes. If we want to visit, however long that's going to last. So we're trying to cram in as much good and create as many good memories as we can in that period of time. We don't want to spend that time, but then there's also the other side of it, which is another element to it, is the women who, it's easy to be a good woman to somebody part-time.
Right.
It's real easy to do it part-time. Because just the nature of the fact that you're not there every single day means that I get some me time. I get to move around. I don't have to worry about, did your dinner get fixed today? Did you fill up the car with gas? Did the car get washed? Like, we don't have to talk about all that kind of stuff together. So again, it's easier to be a good woman part-time. And that is an element that winds up coming into play when people come home, whether it's the man or the woman, because it's good to be a good man part-time too, right? You can do all the right things if a woman is incarcerated, okay? And because you don't have to do it all the time. But then when the person is there, and not only that, but then when the people who come home from incarceration, there are so many things we talk about all the time, the different things that face you, like the anxiety attacks, the different, just circumstances, things, the pressures to get your ID and do this and do that. All of those things matter. And all of those things become layers on top of just what you would want to do. Forget what you got to do, right? But it's just layers on top of layers, and it becomes so much that you're dealing with.
And for example, when I said, how many people read the book? People ain't read it because guess what? You doing life. You on the street. You doing life on the street. You attending to shit in the world. Mm-hmm. If you was in jail, you probably been read the book 10 times.
Right.
Because you in jail.
Yeah.
But when you in the streets, life happens. Shit happens. You trying to get shit adjusted. So you ain't got time to sit down and read this book. You know what I'm saying? Even though I recommend that you do, but whenever you get time, but you don't have time to read it because you're trying to get yourself together. And this, in the relationship aspect of it, It's like it goes both ways. It's like, baby, I'm trying to get myself together. She like, baby, I'm trying to keep my shit going and help you get your shit together. You know what I'm saying? And try to help understand you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And not treat you like a child. Give you like she was giving James the options to lead so she could follow, and then hear what he was saying and see if that was the best thing that, choices, you know what I'm saying? So it's a give and take thing, but it's very much the communication aspect of it, because some women, trust me, are very pushy, very boisterous, because this is the person that they didn't go into, and you never seen that side, because if you were on the phone 15 minutes, she was the sweetest, most caring person. Now you're seeing that person outside who dealing with all the bullshit, paying the bills, the kids, the bullshit, the traffic, the motherfucker that's trying to get at her, you know what I'm saying, to have fuck your man, all of the shit that she's going through, now you seeing that shit.
And it changes things. It changes things. It changes the dynamic, just if nothing else, but for the amount of time that both people have to actually put into the relationship. Both people have different pressures, right, than they did when the person was incarcerated. So for no other reason, just the fact that the physical proximity is going to change things. You could talk about, sex and all that stuff. And you mentioned it before, Terrell, with the sex comes other stuff, right? And the need and the want to perform and all of those things, all of it comes into play.
And also, this is the thing too. When we in jail, other than a conjugal visit, if you're getting one, or a visit, you ain't doing nothing but some sweet nothings, some letters, some collage cards and all that shit. So when you get on the street, now it's the physicality. You don't know her love language. You don't know how she like to be touched. He barely don't feel comfortable sleeping in the bed with a motherfucker because you move too much. Goddamn it, you fucking up my concentration. I can't go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? But she want to be hugged and touched and, caressed and all that other stuff. But you gotta learn that. You gotta grow on that. You know what I'm saying? She wants them letters still. We ain't writing no damn letters when we get on the street.
Right. Think about that, right?
All them lie letters.
Right.
All them lie letters.
So that's different now. Now we're on the street, the pressure on us to perform and to get ourselves together. So these things are the small things that we don't even think about. And that's why I put a lot of stuff in the book, because some things you don't even think about. And those are some of the things that, from a man perspective, what does she need? What are we giving to her now that we're here physically? She want to get that thing made up, need and all that shit, feel good. But what else comes with that? What about the emotional, the psychological, the mental support? Just, oh, baby, I'm here for you. I know you had a hard day today, or how was your day? The simple shit. that shit makes a difference because it's showing that you care and that level of attention is there.
Right.
Because when you're on the phone, you getting all the attention.
That's
Oh,
it.
baby, how you doing today? How you doing out there? You know, yeah, make sure I get that because I need that. You know, commissary coming up. Oh,
You think he
baby, I
did
got
that
you.
before dying?
You know,
Yes, all the collect lies, all the lie, letter lies, yeah.
but once you get out, you out. Like I said, you gotta learn her love language, what she like, so that you can continue to give her that attention that she wants from you, the person when she would stand down with in prison
Mhm.
and hoping to get when you came home. But if you don't know, because you're not communicating with her, it's gonna be way to left field somewhere, and she gonna be.
But that's the number one reason why relationships, when people come home, how things go bad. Because first of all, you've been living your life on your own and running the way you want to run it. So you have to start running with somebody else. But if that person's not running it with you, that's going to make everything in between bad. Because I'm used to getting off work, leaving, going where I want to go, coming when I want to come, doing what I want to do, cooking what I want to cook, leaving when I want, eat whatever I want to do, I can do when I want to do. Now here you come. Now it seems like now you bothering me. You in my space. You know what I'm saying? So now I need to sit down. We need to sit down and have a conversation about how we gonna communicate, how things are gonna work out with us in this space. So when I'm calling from on my break, ask you, okay, what's going on? You tell me, oh, this, oh, that. It ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm already pissed off. I'm already mad because I was the only one running up to that prison, visiting you, talking to you, writing you, all that stuff for you. And I call on my break, ask you what's going on when I get off work, and you telling me you about to do da. Oh, okay, all right, bet. We only can go with that so many times. Then the rest is gonna start going
now
back.
Expected, but see, you know, there's something you said
All
right
them
here.
liar letters, all them liar phone calls.
Talk to hear about the reentry person not being pressured to perform miracles immediately upon release, right? So but all of this requires communication to be able to understand what we need, what each party needs. Because the one thing I know for sure is it cannot be all about any one particular person's needs. It cannot be just about what I need
one-sided
home or just what you need from me now that you're home. It has to be about what we both need so that our needs can be met, and but we got to communicate that. Like you said, we got to learn. You wanted to say something, Pike.
Yeah, well, you know, let's say you go to prison and you do 35, 40, 45, and you come out and you're in your 80s, or, you know, like me, there's no way in hell that I'm gay. But I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm looking for friendship. You know?
Friends with benefit.
You know? Yeah. I'm just saying that I don't care one way or the other.
You just want to get it in and get out.
But sometimes
Yeah.
your friends.
Because you're too old to get in a relationship. You ain't got time for that shit, right?
No, I don't feel comfortable,
Because you've been.
but I feel comfortable with a friend.
Right.
Sometimes your friend is a better relationship than a romantic relationship because
true all the time.
a lot of us coming out of prison are not really ready for an emotional
Entanglement. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so the friendship
That's double me.
is the friendship a lot of times is a lot better because when you have a friend, you can really open up and talk to that friend without the expectations. And then like when I go to job interviews, I'm still looking for a job. I go to job interviews, I have friends that I call and use them as a character reference that know me as a friend, that know my character as a friend. So I trust in these people, just like if you need me, I'm there for you. And to me, those relationships are a lot better than getting into these emotional, and I call them emotional roller coasters. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, learn the love language. How do I learn the love language if you're not teaching me your love? You should know this. You a man. No, I've been locked up. I've been on a disabled shelf for a long time.
All of that.
Right. I'm desensitized to emotions.
Well, you know, that notion of what you should know and shouldn't know, I think is one of my least favorite things for anybody to say to anybody when it comes to a relationship. Why?
Mhm.
Because we're all individuals. What this man like, this man may not like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You may like me to tickle you behind your ear and I touch his damn ear and he ready to sock me because he don't like that.
Right.
You see what I'm
Right.
saying? It's just a reflex. Hey, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So the notion that because I know anything means I should know about you, for me, is horrible. I just do not like the notion that I'm supposed to know either because I'm a certain age or because of anything. It just, to me, nobody's a mind reader and everybody is an individual, and you need to take the time to get to know who those people are.
Assuming, like, ask
Oh
out
my
the-
gosh, it's just terrible. Don't make assumptions that I know. You know, please don't do that. Teach me what about you. Show me what you like. Don't put me in a position to have to try to figure it out on my own. I just don't think. I don't think it's fair, and I'm likely to mess it up. Trust
I'm
me.
gonna mess it up.
Okay, you're
I'm
right.
gonna mess it
For
up.
sure.
But-
Yeah, just assuming that that I know. No, that's not good. That's not a good thing ever. You know what I mean?
Well,
Ask questions.
it's like me and your relationship.
Mhm.
I love you.
Absolutely,
You know I do.
I sure do, and vice versa.
Yeah. And I feel comfortable that way.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for
Romantic.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
but I love talking to you,
yes.
being around you,
Right.
and
And vice versa.
yeah.
And that is that good relationship. Like you say, it's easier for us to communicate because we don't have the sexual
Expectation.
tension. We don't have a lot of that. But we do have expectations at some level. Like, in other words, he does and should expect that if he needs me, I'm gonna be there, and
Right.
vice
Right.
versa.
Right.
We do. Di, you and I have that.
But that's
Right. Right. But yeah, but for a lot of people, it's not unspoken.
Mhm.
And
Right.
it's not there.
Yeah.
And so
Assumption.
yeah, with friends, for example, I have a responsibility. If Diane calls me and I can't answer her call, and Diane called me right back, whatever I'm doing is getting ready to get stopped until I find out she's okay. That's just the way we function one with another.
Right.
That's because she's there for me and I'm there for her. Sometimes she'll answer the phone. Who did it?
That's my first
Because
word.
she know at a particular time of day, Noreen is usually busy. Why is she calling me? Something happened.
What's
right.
happening? What's
It's just
wrong?
a language we speak one with another, and we feel an obligation one to another to be there for each other.
Right.
They
But
tell on
develop
people.
that.
Develop that
What'd you say, James?
with that person.
What'd you say, James?
Friendship that can go as brotherhood, sisterhood, any a congregation or
Way too
partnership.
much.
You're gonna feel that when you have built that communication and that aspect of energy to know something is wrong. But if you don't have that, it's all skeptical. It's all assumption, and it can go left real fast.
Oh, real fast.
Wait, and he said something about tell on him.
That's my job.
Look.
That's my job.
That's your
Look,
job.
Look. One thing that I love about this, and I tell anybody, when you have a group of friends that really means something to you, the thing about it is this: they keep you in check. They keep you with your feet on the ground. They get you to understand the love that you have is not wasted love. You know what I'm saying? And that to me, it's 1,000,001
Mm-hmm.
because Dia called Noreen, had me on the phone, and she don't have to just tell behind my back. She telling to my face, and both of them get on my case. And now I'm seeing it from a different side, where I see where I'm wrong, I see where I'm right. But just because they my sisters, I have to kind of bow it down, you know.
Kinda.
Hello? Can't hear you.
Okay, I bow down.
Okay. I was just gonna say, cause Okay, because they go in both directions. I got one either side. I ain't scared. I'm just saying.
How about that?
But listen, one of the things I want to say about what he just said is the beauty of having people that genuinely care about you,
Right.
that are willing to risk the friendship to tell you the truth. Because I'm gonna tell you this, I know a lot of people, and a lot of people don't want to hear the truth.
No.
They don't want you to call them out on their nonsense.
True.
Well, I have a difficulty being a friend to somebody who only wants a yes person.
No.
I'm not a yes person.
No.
If I'm wrong, I'm okay with you telling me, hey, Nora, you ain't right about that.
Don't ask me if you can't handle the truth.
Please don't. Or at least what I understand to be the truth. Don't ask me.
Right, exactly.
And you only want me to agree with what you're saying.
No, I'm not gonna do it.
I'm not the person for that. And anybody that really knows me will tell you, oh, she gonna tell you what she thinking.
Yep.
You know, if you ask or you put me in position or we have established a love one for another, I don't feel like it's loving you not to tell you the truth. What
Right.
you do with that is your thing. So
how are they friends in their relationship?
how about we'll start with you, Patrick.
How are you friends in your relationship, Patrick?
All of this comes down to communication and awareness. You know, we're talking about people, if it's a girlfriend or a wife, they're not used to you being around. Well, you're not used to being around them. So like you said, tell the truth and, you know, tell people, hey, you're invading my space or I feel too confined. We have to communicate. We have to say, look, like the gentleman sitting behind you, he got anxiety being in a store. Well, I did too, and I still do it. I'll go to the store, and if there's, pardon the expression, too many fucking people, I leave.
And it's interesting because I know the vast majority of people that I know, male and female, that have been incarcerated do the same thing. They do not like crowds, period.
No. And we always look for the back door. And if we go into a restaurant, we sit by the dishwasher area because we know that's the back door.
But wait, let me ask, and let me just try to get clarity just for anybody who may not understand why that is. It due to riots or what is it about? Or is it because you had to be, what is it that makes you uncomfortable being in crowds?
I get uncomfortable in church.
But what is it about the crowds? What is it about it that, because I hear it from all of you guys, but I don't understand what
it means.
Why.
You don't want somebody behind you.
Okay.
You don't want to see 4 or 5 guys locking up, coming toward you.
Okay.
It's just a defense that you built. And when you see it coming, you got to react, and you got to react fast.
Okay.
You know, that's
what is it for you, James? Is it the same thing or?
Well, I was in the riots in '96 in New Folsom on B Yard. Mine is, and I've been in other riots where I was in cafeterias, and what the police would do, they would lock the doors. So they leave you in there to just fend for yourself and go for
because
blow.
they're cowards.
Because they, the police don't want to stop it until we all too tired to fight back. And what it was now when I walked into a restaurant, like you said, I can tell you where every exit is. I can tell you where every entrance is. Entrance, exit, same thing, but even emergency exits. Because I've been trained to do this by when you go into cafeterias, when you go into the gyms, when you go into even in medical, you go in medical, you looking at routes to get up out of there because there's so many things that can hurt you. So when I went to Fremont in Las Vegas, my daughter and my son laughed at me because it was so crowded. Every time we stopped, I would put my back up against the wall because I didn't want nobody to walk behind me. Behind being in prison. You don't walk too close, and people don't understand that.
It's like watching everybody goes one route around the track.
Mm-hmm.
then every once in a while you see a person coming the other way. That's a motherfucker, excuse my language, that's the dude you gotta watch. I seen guys with their so-called homies and they got hanging over them. And then as soon as that bastard was coming in the other way, they'll lock up on him for that dude to stab him. You know?
So,
it's things
and
you
then let
learn.
me ask you, Patrick, let me ask you, what is it for you about crowds?
Not being secure with the people, because we live in uncertain times. Because of what happened in Washington, D.C., because of what's happening here with gay pride or what's happening with immigration. You don't know what's going on. And like you said, you might get locked in somewhere. And I've seen it where people got locked in. There's a robbery, there's a burglary, someone has a medical problem. The first thing restaurants and big buildings do, they lock you in.
Gotcha.
It's just, there's an earthquake, they lock you in. Something happens down the street, and now you got banks and schools that are locking people in. They don't even tell the kids or the parents for 3 to 6 hours, hey, we had to lock down the school today, or we had to lock down. I've gone to DPS or Social Security, and I've locked the building down. And you never knew why.
That by itself, just having been locked up for so long, is just uncomfortable. And the notion, I need to get out of here because I don't want to.
You talked about it. It's re-experiencing trauma.
And you know what I'm learning and listening
you remember
to you all
something else.
Is there's so many layers to it. It's so many reasons. In other words, it's not just one particular reason why. There's lots of layers as to why people that have been incarcerated don't like crowds. Yep. So that's interesting. Mr. Bradley. Mr. Bradley, your turn.
Yes, I hear you.
Talk to me.
I don't really even trip off crowds. I look at people as entertaining, and I feel comfortable around people. I just always observing, got my head on the swivel, looking at, checking out people and stuff like that. If I see someone looking at me, staring at me or something like that, now I put that defense up. But people just mind their own business and living their life. I really don't care. Then when it comes to relationships, like I've been down 33 years, no breaks or nothing. But my girl, we hugged, she grabbed my ass and I jumped. I'm like, what the hell? And that, I felt uncomfortable with that right there because, being incarcerated all that time, you don't want another person touching you. But with her, it's like I got used to it. That's something I knew I had to get used to. It wasn't that I got violent or anything. I just jumped. She's like, what's wrong with you? I just explained to her. That's something I'm not used to. She said, you don't want me doing that? No, it's you. You could do that. You my woman. You could do that. I ain't sure that's something I got to get used to, And it's like, by me, I had to go through all these groups, different groups, nonviolence, communication, and all these different groups of learning coping skills to deal with society and stuff. So when I wake up next to another person, I'm comfortable. It's like at first I thought we were gonna be comfortable with that, but my whole mind is at peace because of the things I went through to get where I'm at today, get my freedom. During these coping skills and these anger and what make me angry and all this stuff. And like y'all was talking about talking, it's not me about being a man. It's about treating another human being like a human being. That's why I look at it, because people put that man, woman, it's like it's some kind of higher power to be a man. No, it's be a human being. Treat everyone as human being and be open and all that communication or arguing, raising your voice. When you raise your voice, you're arguing. But when you sit back and just talk to another person, you're not arguing. You're communicating with one another. You're listening to one another. When you get to raising your voice, you're trying to out-talk the next person. And that don't work for me, because it's like I realize now, they used to say, don't argue with that person. Take off where you're mad at. That was the stupidest shit you could ever do. Take off where you're mad at. And that's what, a lot of people was that false image of believing some crap like that. No, you talk to a person. That person got something to say, listen to them. But you also have to let that person know, like, you got to give me a chance to respond to some of this shit you're saying because you saying so much different things that I want to address that you went to 100 different other things. So it's all about communication and understanding and trying to meet a person halfway. You know, that's how I look at it.
Kit,
Yeah.
Kit, can you unmute?
Unmute again?
Oville, no, Oville.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay. The whole thing is this. Okay. People are giving you a lot of things, and I listen to them all. But when you grow up and you grow up through the system, from juvenile hall to YTS to the gladiator school, then you graduate to Quentin, then you graduate to Folsom, then you graduate from there to Calipat, then you graduate to Pelican Bay. These are the stepping stones that you learn. And if you know anything about these stepping stones, anytime something happens, you want it to come in front of you, period. Because we could be fighting like cats and dogs. It doesn't make a difference. When the gunman starts shooting, the block gun, the Mini 14, anything, you want to see so you can hit the deck.
Understood.
So you can get on the ground and get away from that bullet. The bullet has no name.
Right.
The bullet can hit steel, the bullet can hit cement, it don't hit anything. It will bounce off of that and hit you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is why when you get around a bunch of people, you don't let nobody get behind you because they can stab you in the back and keep moving. You don't let nobody get on the side of you because they can stab you in the neck and hit you good. Okay? And they hit you in the right spot. You bleed out before you even hit the ground.
Wow.
Okay? So now your best defense is to stay ready. You ain't got to get ready.
I heard that.
If you already ready, you ain't got to get ready.
I heard that.
Okay? And that's where that comes from. Okay?
You wanted to say something?
Yeah, you know, we talk about, you know, us in prison and stuff. But if you think about it, the average person who's never been in prison, they have the same problems communicating with
Yes.
with their loved one, and you know, we're not just the only ones. I think most people have to learn to live and love and do life. You know, they got just as many ups and downs as we do.
They do. We do. We all do. But the difference is that because of incarceration, and particularly for long periods of time, it adds layers onto it that make it that much more difficult to communicate. And a lot of it, the reason I do this is because a lot of people they don't have anybody to explain it. So if you can't express what it is, you can't tell me what you're thinking or what you're feeling or why, because you never really sat down and thought about it. Then I don't have any information. I can't respond appropriately.
And to piggyback off what she's saying, when you're confined, there's not a level of experience of different things in society. You're confined to a certain space. So you're normalizing the certain spaces that you're gonna be in. And you know, from prison to prison to prison to prison to prison to prison, it's the same shit. It's just a different prison, a different yard. But at the same time, you know what you're gonna be dealing with. And that level of understanding is always gonna be the same pretty much. But in society, learning and growing in society, you never know what the hell gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't ever know where you can end up at. Everything can be on a whole different level in different ways. And then as far as the awareness, me, myself, I stay aware because prison, I want everything in front of me. I constantly watch my back. I'm in this mirror right here, watching the door. It's my awareness level, and I'm not gonna never lose that. But the fact that I know I have to use discernment to the energy and the places that I'm around allows me to be a little more conscious of, I don't really have to worry about, I'm in a position or somewhere where somebody finna just stab me because I'm not in the prison environment anymore. But those anxieties and that PTSD is not
Just-
going away. It's still there. It still can be triggered off, but I have to learn how to utilize it when and where. You
And
know what I'm saying?
evaluate and like you assess,
Yeah,
right?
you have
And
to
then you'll
assess-
know whether or
Because
not it's
if
real,
I'm in church,
right?
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
My thought process is, ain't nobody in this mother. It might be somebody in with some guns. Now hold up, roll up, some people in church with some guns, with some
Yeah.
knives, with some weapons.
There's a lot of people in church with
And
guns.
yeah, it is. But my thought process, this is a place of worship, and my energy and the energy in here supposed to be good.
right.
So my level of thought is, it ain't no ride finna jump down here, or ain't nobody finna stab me in the neck
Right.
or in the back. So that's a level of awareness that I understand, and I'm not letting my guard down, but I'm just having a little discernment that I'm not here and nobody's gonna do harm to me
Whether or
right
not
here.
that level, whether you need to be at this level of
Yeah,
height
yeah,
under or
because it's
this one,
different.
right?
It's different if you're in church in the pen, because you
Right.
know something finna go down, maybe,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Right, you can
And that's
feel
what,
it.
yeah, you feel attention. So in society, it's different thing. You going in the store, the grocery market, I see crowd, I'm like, that's too many motherfuckers in here, I'm gone. It ain't cause I think something gonna happen to me, it's just cause I don't like being around, I don't like motherfuckers close to me.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
So it's not always the thought of danger, it's just the thought of comfortability.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? And then being around awareness of you. Because if you feel like you gotta be like this every goddamn way you go, that's a state of paranoia.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And that's a lot of work too.
But you always want to be ready, like the brother said. You always want to see shit in front of you. And that's just something that's gonna be with you for the rest of your life if you did any type of prison time or you've been trained to watch shit.
Because
You
listen, our training at PCITI taught us that.
keep everything in
Keep
front of you.
everything in front of you, right? So I never did been in the penitentiary.
Know your exit
Yes.
routes, you know all that
Yes.
shit. Like Jason said, when I walk to a place, I go, where the fuck is the in route, where the out your route? Because I know how to get in that bitch and get out that bitch, everywhere to go, because that's just how I've been trained to know
Yeah.
how the fuck to do what's what. Because ain't nothing worse than something happening, you don't know where the fuck to go.
Right,
You don't know how to get up out of it.
right. That's the worst.
You know what I love? I'll be standing in line and I'll look behind me or outside of me and I'll see a person, man or woman.
And little kids do it too.
No, but what I'm saying is they look at you like, you know, not bad, but, you know, and then I'll say, hi, how are you doing?
Uh-huh.
And that whole expression on their
Changes.
face changes just for a few words of kindness,
Yeah.
Most definitely.
you know, and damn if it don't make me feel good.
Well, you know what? I think that's the perfect note to end this on, because you know what? A little act of kindness will take you a heck of a long way.
Long way.
He did. He survived. He did good the whole time that y'all gonna
Until
work.
I walk in.
But wait, I want y'all. What's today's date? June 6th. This
June
the actual date that the Messiah was actually born. He wasn't born in December. He was born June 6th, and I can prove that to you. But neither here nor there. I'm just saying. So on Jesus's birthday, we had Pike up in here being good, y'all. I said that's a good being nice, and he didn't. He didn't say
Speaking words of
nothing.
kindness.
Yeah, speaking words of kindness, y'all. He ain't trying to shoot nobody, shake nobody, nothing. So we did good today. Today was a good day, y'all. I'm glad that we were all here. Check us out always on all the social media platforms. Come back, be with us next week, and have a good one, y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.